Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varisthaya Ramakrishna te Namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of Bhagavad Gita. We are studying the 25th verse in the second chapter. Before entering to the proper subject, we shall chant two verses from the meditation on Bhagavad Gita. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Maha Bharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. We shall chant the 25th verse from the second chapter. Avyaktoyamachintyoyam Avyaktoyamachintyoyam अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि नानुशोचितुमर्हसि. In the last session, we had taken up the study of this verse to some extent. We shall now continue the same further. In this verse, Lord Krishna is telling our true nature, Atman, is imperceptible and it is inconceivable. This is unchangeable. Therefore, having known this Atman in this manner, or realizing your own true self, you should not grieve. You don't have the right to grieve. Ashochitum arhasi. So, that was the simple meaning, that none of us, after knowing our real nature, we should not grieve. That is what Lord Krishna is telling in this verse. We had discussed about this verse. Our eyes is made from material energy. We can see only material objects. The soul, being divine and beyond the realm of material energy, is invisible to our eyes. When we take the example of eyes, it is true with every other organs like nose, tongue, skin, all the other organs we have to take similarly. Now, going further, being subtler, our Atman, than the material energy, the soul is inconceivable even to our intellect, because we compare with our old experience, we see the things, and through our intellect we try to understand things. But since this true nature of ours is so subtle and even beyond intellect, so the intellect cannot comprehend beyond the senses or the object of senses. Subtler than the objects of senses is the mind. Beyond the mind is intellect. Subtler than the intellect or the subtlest is our soul, the Atman. Material energy can only comprehend material concept, but can never reach the divine soul by the power of its contemplation. As a result, knowledge of the self requires external sources, which are the scriptures and the Guru. So we should not conclude that we cannot comprehend, or rather, only thing we have to notice, we cannot objectify, just like any other objects, we cannot comprehend Atman, but we can experience it because it is our true nature. We are that. So I had given you some example too. Now, can we not experience it? Yes, we can. We can only become that. Now we may get confused. Does God or Atman exist? So then you may ask the question, have you experienced it? No, not yet. Then how can you tell without first experiencing it yourself? When you have not seen a thing, how can you say so much and about it, and also how can so much of faith be in it? Then we shall ask the question to that person who doesn't have faith or doesn't believe and he wants a proof. Now we will ask that person who tells, since you don't have the experience, we don't believe in it. Now we shall ask that person, what is poison? Poison is that substance, when taken you will die if you consume it. How do you know it? Have you experienced it? Have you ever consumed poison? No. Then how did you know it? So that person tells, I have heard it from people, those who have consumed it, that they have died when they consumed. Experts have told, doctors have told, so we believe in it, we have faith in it, though we don't have the experience of consuming the poison. We believe it because experts have told, they have known, they have seen when people who have consumed it have died. The doctors also have conducted so many experiments. So, likewise, we too believe in the Vedas, in the Vedanta, in our scriptures, which are the personal experiences of the sages, experts like rishis, munis, who have already experienced the Atman or God. So, we can go forward having faith, though we have not experienced it. And now, Lord Krishna, who himself is the avatara, the Paramatman or Parabrahman, who is our indweller, the Atma Swarupa, has taken a human form, and then he is telling that in Bhagavad Gita. So, we have to have faith, just like I explained now. So that's why, even though the soul cannot be seen, objectified, like in our eyes and nose and other things, comprehended by intellect, but we can conceive it, we can experience it, we cannot conceive, sorry. Now going forward, we shall go deeper into this verse. And what is Lord Krishna telling here in this verse? This verse, the 25th verse, sums up the philosophical statement made from starting from verse 11. The self is unmanifest, inconceivable, and unchangeable. Senses can only perceive that which is manifest. The self is unmanifest. Senses can perceive the world, but never the self. Similarly, the intellect also cannot conceive the world. It can conceive the world, but cannot conceive the self. The world is the object of conception. The self is the subject. So the self, see, always you will divide a sentence into subject and predicate. So who is the subject? Always the I is the subject. So now you are the subject, that is the self is the subject, enabling even the intellect to conceive or conceptualize, to understand the world. Because yourself is the one which is giving the light to understand. It is the one which gives the power for the sun to glow, to give the light, the fire to burn. and even our intellect to understand. So it is coming downwise. How can intellect, which gets the power or that thing to understand this world, go back and understand the self which is giving the power? So that's why even the intellect cannot conceive the self, but it can conceive the world, which is object of conception. But the self or Atman, your true nature, is itself the subject enabling the intellect to conceive the world. The self is like the weaver observing the landscape through a telescope. The telescope is an instrument through which the weaver can see everything. Can you see yourself in the telescope? No, you cannot. Just like that, even through your eyes, through your nose, through your skin, you cannot objectify yourself. That is your true nature. They can only conceptualize or objectify things outside. Just like the telescope is an instrument through which the viewer sees everything outside but himself. Likewise, our Atman cannot be conceived by the intellect. It is inconceivable. That is what Lord Krishna is telling. So now, why is this confusion? Why are we looking at the world and everything but we cannot conceive? I will just give you an example how we cannot, how we are confusing everything and we are not in a position to understand. What should we give up to do that? Give your mobile some rest is the caption. Arun gets out of the lift after coming from his office on the 7th floor instead of 9th floor. So he, instead of going to the 9th floor, because he was talking on the phone or weaving the mobile, he forgot which floor he wants to go. Instead of going to the 9th floor, he got out on the 7th floor. He was so busy checking his messages on the WhatsApp. Without realizing, he went into the neighbor's house on the 7th floor. He went directly, opened the door, and he sat on the couch. The wife or the lady of the house, she was glued to the TV, watching serials. So she thought the husband has come. She went in, bought the tea, all the time weaving the TV serial. She didn't want to miss the serial. So she gave even the tea to the false husband, thinking that he was the husband. He's from the 9th floor, a neighbor. She gave tea without looking at Harun. When he started drinking the tea, he looked up and saw at the main door the lady's real husband entering the house. He too was looking at his mobile. You can imagine, present day, this is the situation everywhere. He too is looking at his mobile. He came to his own house, saw that person, him, sitting there on the couch, thinking that he has entered the wrong house. He has entered his own house. He told sorry to this person and went out of his own house. So, you can see how we are misled. We cannot conceive the real master, the real husband, or the real person whom we have to conceive because our senses are outgoing. We are busy in so many other things, just like all are glued to the TV or the mobile or some other things. Likewise, the Lord or the Atman is within, weaving everything and keeping all the sense organs going outwards. So instead of going inwards, We are going to the external things and we cannot conceive the reality. That's how we are getting confused, thinking this external world as the reality. Now, after mentioning why the Atman is inconceivable, we cannot objectify. We have given the example of the telescope, or so many other things can be given. So now further, Lord Krishna is giving some of the special aspects of your true nature, the Atman. What is that? The verse also describes ourself or the Atman as unchangeable. It doesn't change. Avikaryo yomuchyate. It doesn't change. See now, for your vehicles to move, you have to have something which doesn't change. What is that? Road. If from tomorrow the roads also starts moving, so how will you move? How will your vehicle move? Suppose you are going on the road towards Johannesburg, then the road will start moving towards Cape Town. So what will happen? See the confusion. So for anything to happen, this whole universe or all of us to exist and do all these things, we need a substratum which is unchangeable. For you to move a movie, weave a movie or a film, what do? There should be a screen which doesn't change. Likewise, this Atman, which is unchangeable, is the substratum on which you will be weaving this phenomenon called the world. But in reality, it is on this Atman, or through this Atman, you are weaving this whole world. Just like you can't see the screen while you are weaving the movie. Only when the movie ends, you see the screen. Likewise, this unchangeable Atman is the substratum on which this whole phenomenon is taking place. What is the opposite of phenomenon? It is noumenon. That is, which is unchangeable for the phenomenon to happen. So, this verse, here Krishna is telling, your Atman is unchangeable, meaning immutable. It cannot change, it does not get destroyed. All the other thing changes in time, changes due to space, and it gets destroyed. But your Atman is unchangeable. This property draws a distinction between the self and your causal body, the subtlest thing. What is that called? Vasanas. So now, that is also unmanifest. Your Atman is also unmanifest. So you may confuse yourself, the Atman, for the causal body, because it is unmanifest. Atman is also unmanifest. So we have to understand the difference between the physical body. We know the physical body now. Then further, the subtlest thing is the subtle body within. Then even within that is the causal body. Beyond this causal body is the Atman. That's why do you tell 3 times Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi? And why do you do all the rituals in the puja and other things 3 times? Because to overcome the mal effect of the physical body, subtle body and the causal body, then you go beyond to the Atman. So now we shall understand a little about the physical body. You know, I need not go to the details of the physical body. It has the 24 cosmic principle, the 5 organs of senses, 5 organs of the other things, all that is there. Now I will take you through the subtle body. What is subtle body composed of? See, when people die, they will see some form. It will be very similar to that person who has died. Some whitish thing or something glowing. So that is called the subtle body. And you should not confuse, because generally people tell that is the Atman or the spirit. That is not the true nature of ours or Atman. So that is only the subtle body. That subtle body, what is it composed of? Your mind, intellect, and your ego. Now, what about the causal body? While the causal body is the seed or the root of both the subtle and gross bodies, containing the karmic impression. See, whatever we do every day, the karma we perform in this life, in future, in the past, in our past life, they have now gone into the seed form, and they are staying there, causing this subtle body and also the physical body and all the experiences of this world. So now what is to be noted is your karma, your action, present action is determining your future. So the impression, the vasanas, the subtle impression are created by your karma, karmic. So you should learn. That's why studying Bhagavad Gita, doing all the things, the puja, the meditation, the sadhana, everything now will neutralize the past karmas to make our vasanas less and less and less, so that we can understand our Atman, comprehend or have the experience go nearer and nearer. So now again I will take you through. Your subtle body is your mind, intellect and ego, while the causal body is the seed or the root of both subtle and gross body, containing the karmic impressions. It is in the form of impressions, karmic of the karma, and the potential of future experiences. It is in the potential form. So now here, while we go through all these experiences, it is becoming kinetic. Where did this all come from? From that potential form of your karma. So we will go through some more detailed explanation of this subtle body, which is called Sukshma Sharira, by which we can understand this concept a little more clearly. So this subtle body or the Sukshma Sharira, also known as the astral or ethereal body. It is composed of mind, manas, we call it manas, intellect, buddhi, and ego, ahankara. You identify with all these things and you will believe that is my reality. You will identify with your ego, a false truth which is appearing as the Atman, and you will always tell, I am that I, that I. Comprehend that as the reality or the Atman, that ego. So now this subtle body mediates between the gross physical body and the causal body. The subtle body is active during dreams and also when you give up your body or after the death, and is responsible for experiences like thoughts, emotions and perceptions. Now, it is more subtle form of energy than the physical body, and it is believed to continue beyond the death of the physical body or in your dream state too. Okay? Now, you got little idea of what is the subtle body. Now, we'll go further to know a little deeper aspect of causal body. See, why are we doing all these things? Because we have to sleeve everything, make it threadbare, so that you can comprehend or at least intellectually grasp little thing about your Atman. Then you can meditate on that and get a clear understanding of this. That's why we are taking out, just like the onion, you remove the outer skin, then the inner skin go on peeling and peeling and peeling. After you peel everything, what do you get? Empty, nothing. Nothingness, it will go to nothingness because it's all skin and skin and skin. Likewise, let us peel it and try to go to the inner nature of ours. So now, the causal body, Karana Sharira. See, Karana means that which causes the other two bodies. So, where does this originate from? It originates, what was the first karma that we committed? Atma Swarupa. Then I forget my true nature. That is called ignorance, avidya, ajnana. My forgetfulness of my true nature is the first sin I committed. Then it followed all the things, all these experiences, it follows. How did we do that? How did we get it? I will take you through that thing. One of the major, the army general or this navy, other people, the commanders and the high-ranking people, they have a lot of badges here, stars and other things on their chest. While they come to a parade or something, you can see lot of stars and badges and other things here, as if they have won so many medals and rewards and awards. One of the person asked one of this major general of the army, how did you get so many rewards and awards and all the other things? So he replied, the first award I got by accident or mistake, the rest followed. The first award I got by mistake, the rest followed. So how did this follow? What happened in our case? Why did we get into this trouble? I will take you through one beautiful incident. What is that? It is an example of a zoo. Now, a new zoo was created. And in that zoo, the owner of the zoo kept 100 rands for entry. Nobody came to that because it was very costly, 100 rands. So what did the person of that owner of the zoo, that businessman who started the zoo, do? He told, now if I keep 100 rands, none are coming. So he changed the board. What is that? Rand 15, 100 to 50. Nobody came. Then again he reduced the cost to Rand 15, 15. Nobody turned up. Finally, he decided to make the whole zoo free of cost. He changed the board, free entry. Our people are very, very after free and discount sales. Everybody free. So they came running. Before he knew it, the zoo got crowded because it was free of cost. Then, with a lot of people inside, it was so crowded, he had to close the gates and then displayed the board houseful. Then, what did he do? He let some of the lions and tigers outside the zoo. Instead of keeping in the cage, he let them free. So the crowd started rushing. They wanted to save their lives. So they started rushing to the gate, the exit gate. There, near the exit gate, they were shocked to see there was no entry fee, entry free, but exit fee was charged 500 rands. If you have to exist Out of the gate, you have to pay 500 rands. Everybody paid immediately and they ran outside the zoo. Likewise, we thought there is something beautiful and pleasurable and enjoyable and everything free of cost. We came to this world. We were very happy in our land of God or Vaikuntha or something. So we thought everything is free. This nature showed us temptation, free of cost. We can enjoy. We came here. After coming here, we see everywhere tigers and lions and other hyenas are roaming to kill us, and what problems, so much of difficulties. Now we want to go back. We want to exit, but you have exit fee. You cannot simply go. Entry is free. Exit, you have to pay the cost. Very costly. What is that? That is your spiritual practice, sadhana. You have to do sadhana. You have to study Gita. You have to hear the Guru's Vakya. You have to hear the words of Lord Krishna. And then you have to quit this world and understand what is your true nature. Go back to your source. So how did we come here? What was the first karma we did? We forgot our real self. That is called ignorance, avidya, ajnana, absence of knowledge. Of what? Of our own true nature is the first karma, the bad karma we did. That's how is symbolically indicated in the Bible as, what is that? Adam. The God had warned him, don't eat the apple. So he didn't hear the words of God, he ate the apple, then you know what happened, everything, then the whole creation started. Likewise, so how did the desire come? Because of avidya, ajnana. So that's why very nicely in Advaita, Shankaracharya explains it. Avidya, that is forgetfulness of your true nature, causes avidya, ignorance, causes desire. Then through the desire, to fulfill your desire, you have to work. Vidya, kama, karma. So when you do the karma, you will get the result of karma that will bind you and bind you and bind you and bind you. Now you are full of this karma. That is your subtle body and the causal body. What is causal body? You have committed so much first with the avidya, absence of the knowledge of your true self, forgetfulness of your true self. What did you do? You started having desires, then karma, then it is a, what do you call, like a cocoon, the silkworm. Now it itself makes the cocoon around it, and finally it will die. We are creating this world, binding and binding with more karmas, more desires. So the root cause of this, or the seed of the subtle and gross body, is this causal body. Then it contains the karmic impressions, the samskaras, and the potential for future experiences. It is the most subtle of the three bodies, and it is often described as a state of pure consciousness or unmanifested. The causal body you cannot feel. See, you cannot even perceive your own causal body, your own organs, your own eyes, your own ears, how it is hearing the sound, you cannot perceive. Then how can you perceive or objectify that Atman which is beyond this causal body? That's why Krishna is telling it is inconceivable, and it is, you cannot objectify it. So it is the most subtle of the three bodies, and is often described as a state of pure unmanifested state. The causal body is the source from which the subtle and the gross bodies emerge, and to which they return in deep sleep. So now you can see every day, you are now in the waking state. When you go back to your house, then you put off the light and go to sleep, then you go to dream state. That is the subtle body starts working there. Even after giving up the body, the same thing. then it will withdraw still. What is that? You will go back, you will merge into your subtlest form, the causal body. That is deep sleep, where you are not aware of anything, but you are very near to the Atman. Then you get the real rest. That's why some of the Upanishads and the Vedantic terms represent or states that the deep sleep state is nothing but like samadhi. What is the difference then? Nidra samadhi sthitihi. Sushupti, or the deep sleep state, is almost like you are in deep meditation, or you are in the Atman, you merge in the Atman. So what is the difference between a person who has gone to samadhi and deep sleep state? Yeah. One of our great gurus, that is Yatishwaranandaji Maharaj, now the present Revered Gautamaanandaji's guru, the disciple of Brahmanandaji, he used to tell what is the difference between the, what do you call this, samadhi, that high state of yoga, and the sushupti or this deep sleep state. He tells a fool or a agnani, fool means not in the English term sense, but a person who doesn't know anything, or agnani, who is not having the knowledge of wisdom. A fool entering into samadhi comes out as a wise man. But a fool, avidya, agnani, entering into deep sleep state or sushupti comes out as a fool. That is the difference. Both are merging in the Atman, but the avidya, agnana, ignorance is still there. So when you go to samadhi by sadhana, by spiritual practice, you merge in your own self and experience that bliss. And when you come out, you have still the bodies, all the subtle body, physical body, everything. So now you come out as a wise person with the experience. But when you go to sushupti, because it is not out of your sadhana, but out of force, you are forced to go every day. Why? Because you have to get rest. Otherwise, if you don't get sleep for 3 days, what happens? You will become mad. So the real rest is in your own Atman. The real joy you are getting, you are thinking that it is some other body that you are getting joy. You are thinking some eatable that you eat gives you joy. No. Reality, all the joy or the bliss comes from your own soul. Source is within. So the real joy you get is in your deep sleep, is you are merging in your own Atman. See how nicely you go back. So studying all these things, you can now understand a little about your Atman, true nature, so that you can go within how to meditate, you get an idea. Otherwise, you cannot even understand anything. So we have come to know physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So the causal body is the source from which the subtle and gross body emerges, and to which they return in deep sleep. So every day you return back to your source in deep sleep. You are in your Atman. Only thing, you are forced to go. Otherwise you don't get rest, you will get mad. Then while you come back, you are still the same, because the Ajnana covering is still there. But when you do sadhana, practice sadhana, japa, tapa, meditation, and then go to samadhi, then your Ajnana will be destroyed. Even though you have the subtle body and the physical body, still you will come out a wise person, wisdom, man of wisdom, because you have the knowledge now, experience of that bliss. So that is the difference we have come to know. Now I will give you another example. What is that? This is a Vatican story. How do we wrongly perceive? Why do we wrongly perceive? instead of my Atman, why do I perceive the ego? How do I get into it? To give an example, I am giving this Vatican humor. After getting all of Pope's Benedict's luggage, there was Pope Benedict earlier, loaded into the limousine car, the driver notices the Pope is still standing on the curb. He doesn't want to enter the car. He has put all the luggage of him into the boots, but the Pope is not entering the car. Excuse me, Your Holiness, says the driver. Would you please take your seat so we can leave? Well, to tell you the truth, says the Pope, they never let me drive at the Vatican. I have a craze to drive. Can you please allow me to drive? So they never allowed me in Vatican to drive as I was a cardinal. And I really like to drive today from the airport. I'm sorry, Your Holiness, but I cannot let you do that. If I do that, I will lose my job as the driver. What if something should happen to you? Protests the driver, wishing he'd never gone to work this morning. Who is going to tell all of that? Nobody knows now. Only two of us are here. Nobody is going to tell anybody, says the Pope with a smile. Reluctantly, the driver gets to the back. As the Pope climbs in behind the wheel, the driver quickly regrets his decision when, after exiting the airport, the pontiffs floors the car, limousine, accelerating the limit to 205 kilometers per second. Please slow down, Your Highness, Your Holiness, pleads the worried driver. But the Pope keeps the pedal to the metal until he hears the siren behind. The policemen are coming, the siren. Oh dear God, I'm going to lose my license also and my job as the driver, moans the driver. The Pope pulls over and rolls down the window as the cops approaches. Now the cop takes one look at the Pope who is in the driver's seat. Now immediately he was surprised and goes back to his motorcycle and gets on the radio. I need to talk to the chief of the police, he says to the dispatcher. The chief gets on the radio and the cops tell him he has stopped a limousine car going at 205 kilometers per hour. So the chief got angry. Why are you waiting? So bust him, says the chief. But I don't think we want to do that. He's really important person in the car, said the cop. The chief exclaimed, all the more reason, bust him. No, I mean really important, said the cop with a bit of persistence. Now the chief asked, who do you have there? The mayor? The cop replied, bigger than the mayor. A senator? Bigger than the senator. The prime minister? No, bigger than the prime minister. Well, said the chief, who is it? I think it is God himself in the car. Why? The chief is even more puzzled and curious. What makes you think it is the God? Now the cop replied, his driver or the chauffeur. Chauffeur is the Pope. If the Pope is the driver, then God himself might be sitting inside of the car. Jesus Christ himself might be sitting in the car because the Pope himself is the driver. So now, just like the policeman confused the driver to be God inside, we are confusing, wrongly thinking that our ego is the Atman and getting into trouble. So now we have to bust this driver, the ego, and then get into the Atman, the source. That's why all these things which Lord Krishna is telling is to go back to our source, that is the Atman. The verse also describes the self as unchangeable, immutable. This property draws a distinction between your true self and your past impression vasanas. the subtle body. Because subtle body, your past impressions, vasanas are also unmanifest. And your Atman, true self, is also unmanifest. So you may confuse like that cop, the driver as the Atman who is sitting inside. So to clear that, Lord Krishna is giving this wonderful word is unchangeable. So how this works out? The self is unchangeable, immutable. This property draws a distinction between the self, that is the Atman, and the vasanas or the impression in the seed form, in the potential form, that is the causal body, which forms the source or seed of one's individual personality. So that is the seed, that is the cause of all our subtle body, all the problems, all these things, everything comes from there. Vasanas, past impression, constitute the causal body of the human beings. As the name itself suggests, the causal body which causes everything. The causal body or the sukshma, the karana sharira. Again, the name in Sanskrit also is karana. Karana means causes, which causes karana. Kim karanam? What is the reason? That is a Sanskrit word, karanam. So karana sharira means causal body causes or produces the subtle body and also the gross body. And that is the one which gives you the perception. Though you are seeing God here, the screen, the God, the Paramatman itself, because of your past impression, you are seeing it through the screen, the prism of your past impression. God Himself will look like this world. Man is Lord Shiva. Woman is the Divine Mother. Because of the desire, the vasana within, for the man, the woman, though she is the goddess herself, she looks like woman, an object of enjoyment. Why? What is the cause? The desire, the vasana, the impression, the causal body is the cause. So if you change that identity, and if you identify yourself with the Atman, then you will see the Divine Mother in the body of the woman. Vice versa. The woman sees the man as an object of enjoyment because of the inner vasanas, the impressions. If you identify yourself instead of with the ego, identify yourself with the Atman, your true nature, then you will see in the man, not the man or the object of enjoyment, but Shiva himself. The whole world then will look different. You will see only the Parabrahma Swarup. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Sarvam, everything, Khalu, definitely is God, Brahman. Any other statement? Ishavasya Upanishad, the first line, Isha avasyamidam sarvam itkincha jagatyan jagat. This whole universe is nothing but it's covered by the Lord. It's nothing but the Lord. But why are we seeing this as this world or objects of enjoyment? Because of your past impression, the causal body, which is the cause of all this misconception. So see, now we are having little understanding. These are all very subtle things. That's why I'm taking more time, giving a lot of examples and making you, or trying to understand, make you understand. So, the gross body houses the sense organ. The subtle body composes the mind, intellect. The gross body houses the sense organs. Now, vasanas, our causal body or the past impression, therefore, it causes the senses, mind and intellect. to act like what we are doing now. Like the self vasanas or the causal body is also unmanifest. So you may get confused with that. That's why, being the very cause of the senses, mind and intellect, the vasana cannot, or a causal body cannot be perceived by the senses. It can be felt by the mind or conceived by the intellect. Vasanas have two of the three properties of your self or the Atman, as mentioned in this verse. Both are unmanifest and both are inconceivable. So when Krishna told these two things, you should not confuse your vasanas or for past impression or karmic impression, your causal body to be the Atman. For that, the Lord has made this Kriya by giving this wonderful nature of the Atman. It is unchangeable. But your vasana or causal body is changeable. How? How can you change it? Only the self is unchangeable. This quality distinguishes your Atman or the self from the causal body or the vasana. Knowing this truth, so you have to understand this. Now, how can you change your past impression, karmic load? How can you change your perception of the causal body and identify that identity I can be shifted from the causal body or the ego to the Atman? I will give you one example. When somebody dies, his clothes, his bed, and some of the things he was using, what do? We send it away, throw it away, or we'll put it out of the house. We don't want to keep it in the house. The bed, the bed sheet which the dead man was using, or dead woman, or anybody for that sake. What do? When somebody dies, his clothes, his bed, and some other objects he was using, we throw it out or we give it to somebody. We put it out of the house along with the body, with his body. But do we do that same thing with his wealth? Do we do that same thing with the gold or the ornaments of him? Carefully remove the ring, gold ornaments and the other things and keep it inside the house. Only unnecessary things like cloth and other things and the body, we throw it out. Gold, property, wealth earned by him, money, home, vehicle, ornaments, jewels, we do not throw it. But we search for it. We search for it. Where, whichever corner of the house, all the insurances, all the bank balance, everything, we will search and search. We go to the lawyer, what is the will he has written, and we take it and keep it safely. We search for it thoroughly and bring it back to our house. More than the body or the man who died, we are worried about his earning and the costly things. So, this is the way of the world. So, if you have to earn, please earn punya, merit, to charity, virtues, good deeds, devotion, spiritual practices, service, knowledge of God, which is more valuable than all these things. Nobody can take it away from you. It will follow you wherever you go. So now, by these things, now I mentioned in the last, which nobody can steal it, nobody can take it away. Even after your death, it will follow you. What are they? Merit, punya, virtue, good deeds, spiritual properties like devotion, bhakti, The bhajans you do, the puja you do, the sadhana, the spiritual practice, the japa you do, the service to the poor, the service to the needy, then doing the karma yoga, doing the service of God, and you read and learn and hear the knowledge which cannot be taken away by anybody for that sake, that will create new impression, karmic load, which will change your causal body, karma. So now you came to know, Atman doesn't change by karma or anything, but your causal body or the impressions can change. So you become purer and sattvic by your spiritual sadhana and all these things. By that, your causal body or the impressions, the seeds will change, the karmic load will change. By that, your perception of yourself will go on changing. Then your identity shift from the ego will go towards the Atma. See how beautiful every verse of Bhagavad Gita carries some deep meaning. It will help us to meditate on our true nature. See how subtly the difference between the causal body and the subtle body, between the Atman, unchangeable. But this thing can be changed. Your vasanas or the subtle body can change, purify. That's why a master used to tell, what is that? Pure mind and pure Atman are one and the same. When you purify your mind by all these sadhanas, then what happens? You can have the correct reflection of your true self, the Atman. Now, because of these desires, unwanted desires and other things, the mirror is covered with dirt and soot. So, you have a hazy reflection of your true self. You confuse. That's why when you clean the mirror, the mind, the pure self, as Sri Ramakrishna tells, is equal to pure Atman. Shuddha Manasi, Shuddha Atma. Ramakrishna tells in the Gospel. So by sadhana, by service, by karma yoga, why should we meditate? Why should we do all the karma yoga? Why should we come to the lectures? Why should we hear about Bhagavad Gita? Why should we come to the satsangs? Why are we taking mantra diksha? That purifies your mirror. The vasanas, see, it is finally what it comes to. If you have seed, see, these vasanas or karmic impressions are like seeds. If you have seed, if you get a right atmosphere, you put the seed into the soil, what happens? It will sprout. Likewise, these vasanas, these impressions, it sprouts, causes new trees to come up, plants and new life, and everything will come up. Again and again, you will come to new birth. You will die, you will born. So new things is created. But when these vasanas are fried in a tawa, what will happen? Fried nicely. The seeds will be there. But if you put to the ground, it will not sprout. So how to burn these seeds? By the knowledge of Atman. Fire of knowledge. By the fire of knowledge, you can burn the seed. Then the seed loses the capacity to sprout again, create new life, new birth, new death, fear. So that we are trying to do in that the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the Atman is slowly burning all the desires, the bad desires, and cleaning that. So now, Swami Vivekananda gives another example. Suppose, now you want to see your own reflection. If you are in the forest, do not come to the city, what you do? You go to a river. And in the flowing water, you look at the reflection. You see a hazy reflection. Then you go to a still water like a pond. Then you reflect, your reflection will be little better. Then you come to the stone or some other things which is nicely little clear, then your reflection is little better. Then you polish the stone nicely. In the temple and other things, the granite, when you polish it nicely, you can see your reflection still more better. You come to see a metal piece, then you see your reflection still better. Finally, when you stand in front of the clean mirror, the reflection will be the best of it. But even then, it is a reflection. It is not the true self. It's still a reflection. So, the mind, when you purify everything of all these desires and vasanas and the seed form, the impression of your karma, by your positive karma. So finally it becomes a clean mirror, and the reflection of your Atman or your true self is clearly reflected. But yet you have the difference. The right will be left and the left, it is still a reflection. Finally, what is to be done? You merge in yourself, you become one with the self. Then there is no reflection. That is the highest experience of God. That is the highest experience of your Atman. Once you merge, then you will not be fooled again. No amount of nature or temptation can fool you after that experience. It is completely burnt after. That is the idea of Shiva having the third eye. You too have that third eye. What is that third eye of Shiva? Burning. See, on Holi I explained about Kama Dahana. Kama was burnt. Shiva was sitting in meditation. He tried to disturb him. The Cupid or the bad desire, Kama, Manmatha went to disturb him, put the arrow, and Shiva opened his third eye and the fire came and burnt it. It is all symbolical. So, the third eye means the eye of knowledge. When you get all this beautiful knowledge, it is burning it, this all bad desire. Then you get your true reflection of yourself. Then you become one with your own self. That is samadhi. That is samadhi. That is the highest spiritual experience. Then once you come back to this body and everything, you will have all the experiences, but you will not be fooled again. How is that? Any example? So many examples are there. What is that? You are going through a desert, let us hope. Then you see there mirage. You know what is mirage? Or somebody pronounce it as mirage. There's also a aeroplane in the French, this thing, a jet, fighter jet called Mirage 2000. India has purchased that too. So that M-I-R-A-G-E, mirage means Marichika. What is that? If you're going in the desert, you will see as if there is a water body there, and there the tree and other things are reflected. You are thirsty, you want to go and drink that water, you go and go, that also goes further away. As you go near it, it goes further away. All the reflection and everything. Then that is called, it will confuse you. If you think that there is water, you go in the desert, you don't find water, you get thirsty, and finally you die. But people go and see and understand it's a mirage. There is no water due to the reflection or this thing of the sun rays, too much of heat. It creates a illusion in your mind. It's called mirage. So likewise, in reality, this world and all this confusion doesn't exist. It is creating the mirage. But once you know the reality, once you see it is a mirage, and again you walk in the desert, tomorrow also you will see the mirage there, but you have the knowledge that is only unreal. Then you will see it, you are not tempted to that, you will go towards the real water. So, another beautiful example given in our Vedanta is, now you are tied down by the rope. You can't escape, your freedom is lost. You are tied down by the rope. Now, these desires, these vasanas, which produces new life and new subtle body and other bodies, and forces you to this life, the karma, forces you to this life, so are like these binding ropes. If you burn the seeds or burn the rope, still the shape of the rope will be still there, but it cannot bind you. Rope is still there, but that burnt rope cannot bind you. Likewise, burn these desires, the subtle body, the seed form, past impression, by the positive thoughts, by the sadhana, by the knowledge of God, knowledge of Atman, what we are studying, all these things, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, and all the scriptures, burn that by that knowledge. Then you will see this world exists, you will see the world, but you will not be fooled, hypnotized by this world. Have the reflection clear, and you see your own Atman. Nothing can confuse you. So, this we will end our discussion on this beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita. And finally, lastly, after knowing well, Krishna tells, you don't have the right to worry. That's what he's telling. Na shochitum arhasi, you cannot grieve. That's what I tell many people. They go on to that mode of worrying. Simply cry. They like crying. Self-pity. They get some joy in self-pity. Crying, self-pity. No. Krishna tells, after knowing this truth, you don't have the right to grieve, Krishna is telling. Na shochitum arhasi, arhata. You have lost the arhata to grieve. Nobody should grieve. There is no reason to grieve. That is what the last final statement. After all this knowledge, what will you grieve for? What are you crying for? This is all mirage, unreal. If you have to cry, cry for the real. You really have to cry, cry for the real. That is the Lord or the Atman or your own true self. No chance for self-pitying, no grieving. That's what Krishna in many places, many of the verses will again and again and tell. You don't have the right to grieve. You should not grieve. No sorrow, no worry, no tension, no depression, no anxiety. You can be calm and quiet. So happy, joyful, because you've known the truth. When you know the truth, why will you worry? What will you worry for? Your worrying means you are not having the knowledge. You are not worrying, you are happy always means you have the knowledge, true knowledge. So anybody, whether me or he is worrying, you have not got the true knowledge. Just automatically. So how to overcome that worry, depression and all that? Get the knowledge, true knowledge. So we will get to that, some more discussion on why should we not worry. Take up that and discuss a little more and go to the next verse. Next, some of the few verses are very ordinary because Krishna, from the higher point, from 11th verse to up till now, 25th, he has given us the real Sankhya Yoga. This is called Gnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga. He has given us the highest knowledge up till now. Now, after telling do not worry to Arjuna, he comes down to the practical view. Yes, you think now the Atman will die, let us hope, and it will be born. Even then you should not worry, is the next verse. So he comes down to the practical sense while you are living. First it is the highest, it take you to the highest knowledge. Then now he will come down to the ordinary level. And still next he will come to the still ordinary level. And then explain, even if you think so, you should not worry. Nowhere in whatever level, not worry. Means the message is clear from Bhagavad Gita. Never worry whatever might be there. Be concerned. You can be concerned. There is an ocean of difference between worrying and concern. Worrying comes impulsively without thinking. Without proper thinking comes worry without knowledge. Concern comes from the knowledge and thinking and knowing between the right and the wrong. So be concerned. So if somebody dies, somebody is in trouble, do your duty. Do not worry. You cannot change even a millimeter if you worry. It will make the situation worse if you worry. So Krishna is again and again is telling, do not worry, do not grieve. You cannot achieve anything by grieving. No self-pity, no need of crying. Yes, if you want to cry, please cry. Or the truth, cry for God. That you don't have yet the realization of your true self for God, for that you can cry. But not for the untrue things. Do not cry, no self-pity. We will go to the corner and go on thinking about the past. Oh, I had that desire. I wanted to achieve this. I couldn't. Go on crying and crying and crying and crying. And you want to go cry because you have that speciality. You enjoy in crying. You go to some tragic movies, tragedy. And there the orphan will be there. He'll take the kerchief and you go on crying and wiping the tears. You enjoy it. Crying. No grieving. Do not worry, be concerned, do your duty. What is to be done at that time? Do it. If somebody is sick, no worrying, do the duty. Because some people may think, oh, see, he doesn't cry when his own person or somebody is sick. Just to show it to the world, if you want, you cry a little. But within, be firm, like the ocean, no waves. Outside, because you have to act in the world, you have to please all the people, the family and other things, there you may do little acting. Otherwise, be calm like the ocean within. That is what Krishna is taking us through. So how you can be in the world? Outside world you can show off. You need not show that you are very superior in knowledge. Outside world, be like that. When you are in Rome, be a Roman. Okay, we will end our conversation now. The next class, we will talk about that. Not to worry, how not to worry, and go to some of the next verses. We will now conclude by chanting one of the meditation verses of Bhagavad Gita. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. I've explained many times that last line we tell Harihi Om Tat Sat. Again, Lord Krishna has told that in the Bhagavad Gita. Next we'll be talking about it. Harihi Om Tat Sat. There is no Harihi. Krishna is not telling Harihi. We add that. But he tells Om Tat Sat, meaning Tat means that, God, or the truth, or Brahman, or Atman. Sat means is the only reality. That means all else is unreal. Whatever you see, whatever you experience, God alone, your Atman alone is true. Why does Krishna tells, when you do any action, when you do any havan, puja, the things, you have done so many mistakes or any chanting pronunciation wrong or any other mistakes, if you tell Om Tat Sat, all the defects will be neutralized. So how can it be neutralized? What is the meaning of Om Tat Sat? God alone is real. When you come to know God alone is real, this world is real. Whatever you have done, any mistakes is unreal. Everything will be neutralized. That's why in the end, as per Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, when it comes, we will explain in detail. So I bought, because in this context, now we have come to know about the Atman, the reality of the Atman, because the knowledge is fresh. So with that, if you know, Harihi Om, Harihi means God. Om Tat Sat, Tat Sat, that alone is real, all else is unreal. When you get grief, when you get worry, when you get sorrow, Immediately if you remember this, Tat Sat, Harihi, God alone is true. Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. God alone is true, this world is illusory. That is the method by which I follow. Whenever some difficulties come, whenever some sorrow comes, whenever some other things come, I repeat this again and again. God alone is true. All else is illusory. Why should I worry about the illusion and the unreal? Let me worry about the real, that is God. God alone is true. Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. That helps me a lot. So you can also try if